so much for clicking this video. My name is Chesiyna and you are welcome. So today I'm doing an updated video for my immigration story. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the first video that I did, I was just talking for 30 minutes straight. It doesn't have a lot of structure like the videos that I create where I have chapters and I kind of segment the video so that it's easy to follow along. So here I am updating the video. And the reason why I want this video up is obviously because I get this question asked so many times. And the question is, how did you get to America? How did you come here? And that's usually from Americans, or it could be people in the diaspora, or it could be from Kenyans. So there's always that curiosity. And I think at the time that I created the first video, someone asked, actually 2 people asked me that week, and I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and create this video. So if you have watched my first video, I'm still wearing the same I'm wearing the same outfit because I just wanted to, you know, have the same vibe that I had when I created the first one. And the aim for this particular video, I just don't want to say my story just because. Of course, I want to motivate, inspire, and empower you. So that is my goal. Another goal, as always, for all of my videos is not to laugh a lot, but that never ends well. I always end up laughing because that's just the kind of person that I am. So, as I always say, get a cup of tea or coffee, relax, and prepare to be motivated. I grew up in Nairobi, Kenya, which is a big city, the city under the sun. However, I do not consider myself a city girl. Why do I say this? I actually consider myself a village girl because in as much as I went to school in Nairobi, our home might have as well been in Baringo. We really ate ethnic dishes. That was our staple food, ethnic dishes. So that would be the ugali ya wimbi. There was saget, popek, mursik. That was what we ate. For snacks, we would take ariek. What ariek? I think it is. Oh my goodness, I don't know what it is in. I'll try to find the name in Swahili. But yeah, for snacks, we would take ariek, we would take kumnyande, which is honey. So I consider myself a village girl because that's how I grew up. In addition to that, we did not have the estate experience where someone says, oh, house number what, house number what. No, we were not even allowed to play with the kids in the neighborhood. We were very sheltered. And I did have a bit of naivety. I was a bit naive because yeah, I just grew up in a close-knit family. We had childhood friends, we had family members, and that was basically it. I did go through the 844 system, so all the way through high school. Then after that, I joined Strathmore University. And yeah, Strathmore University was really lovely, but yeah, that's just a bit of a background so that you understand that my worldview was really limited because it was just either I'm at home, I'm in school, I'm in the farm, and if I'm not in the farm, I'm in the library because my mom was a librarian, or in the museum. So I just had a select few places where I would go around, and it's like I would just orbit around those few places, and that was it. So I want to stress that I had a limited worldview. So in Strathmore University, oh my goodness, it was such an experience. And I think it's because the people there were lovely, they were very mature and very kind. And at this point, I got a bit of freedom. So I would be able to, you know, go for lunch and do all these things. And one of my friends in Strathmore was my best friend from childhood. So of course, I just had this really great anticipation of, I can't wait to graduate. And once I graduate, I can't wait to move to Nakuru and just get a bedsitter and start life. I'm telling you this because, again, I did not have much expectation or anticipation of what would happen in the future. And something else that I didn't mention is I would spend so much time in the rural area. So I was in Seretunin, Kabartonjo, Molo. So I was always in the rural area. So for me, I just thought, as soon as I graduate from Strathmore in Nairobi, I'm taking the first bus, the first Molo line to Nakuru, and I'll start life. I just want to get out of here and go to where it's comfortable for me. So that's what I thought would be my my story. At this point in Strathmore, they did require us to do volunteer work. So I did get a spot at Hope House Babies Home, which is off of Wayaki Way. So it was really close to my home. I loved it. And in fact, I fell in love with the kids so much, they started calling me mom. And there's one child in particular, I can literally see her face right now. I always wanted to adopt her. And I would always talk about this child to my parents and say, oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. I want to, adopt her and take her to this school. Yes, so in my head, I just thought, okay, as soon as I'm able, I'll take her with me to Nakuru. So when I was volunteering here, I think I enjoyed my stay there so much that even after I got my 200 hours, I was still there. And I bumped into this lovely lady. I think at that time she was 17 years of age. And she told me that she was actually abandoned by her parents when she was really young. So she grew up in the children's home system. So she told me that she was just paying it forward. She was not in this particular children's home, she was in another one still, but she was just coming there to help out with the kids, and we just hit it off. We became like best friends. So one day she told me, Heather, I need to invite you for lunch. And of course I said, yes, tell me when and I will come. So she told me that I think it was a Friday or something like that. On a Friday, once we're done helping out in the children's home, we'll go ahead and I'll show you to my current children's home. So I said, okay. So we went, and this was not the typical children's home. It was in a gated community, and it was a very, very large house, and barbed wire and everything else, electrical fence and everything. So as soon as I walked in, I did a double take. Am I in America? Everything in that house was so Americanized. And I think our first meal that day was, it was such an American meal. Then I asked her, hey, what's going on? Because all the kids were speaking American English. All of the kids in that children's home were speaking American English. Their homework was American. So she told me, oh, all of us have sponsors from America, so we are being homeschooled in the American system. For me, growing up in a traditional Kalenjin home and then seeing all these different kinds of foods, I was shocked, and I didn't hide it. So she would always laugh. Even the small kids used to laugh at me. They really loved me. So they would laugh at me and they would, oh, Heather, no, this is lasagna, this is what. Guys, I did not know those things at that point. It was around 2005. Yeah, I didn't know these things existed. So at that time she asked me to tutor the kids, and when I would try to tutor them, they would laugh because I was just used to the British English, so the Kenyan English that was based off of the British system, and I felt as if I had a crash course on America. So she started telling me, my friend started telling me about her sponsor, which state she's in, and all this, and we would spend so many hours in her room, her telling me all this stuff about America, and essentially I felt as if it was a crash course on America. So at this time, I was getting ready to go back to school, and I had to bid her farewell. But before I did, she gave me a book called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. And she told me, Heather, I have a feeling that your life is about to change. And my sponsor actually sent this book to me from America. So I want you to read it. Once you're done, you can always bring it back to me. So I read the book in one day, and it was a really interesting book, and it planted a seed in my heart. So I took it back to her and I told her, wow, this was lovely. We exchanged contacts, and that was it. So when I was getting ready to go back to school, actually I was in school at this time. Guess what happened? My dad got really sick, like ICU sick. He was extremely sick. And I remember I got a call when I was in school, which was such a wrong move, and I almost passed out. I'm so emotional when it comes to these things. I almost passed out, and throughout the matatu ride, to the hospital, I was crying, and the conductor was like, Madam, uko sawa? I was like, oh, I couldn't even talk. I was crying the whole way. And when I saw my dad, I oh my goodness, I went off emotionally. I almost passed out, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was 18, and I remember going before God, and I just told God, hey, I'm not ready to lose my dad. I'm not ready to lose my dad at this point, because honestly, he was at his deathbed. So I cried and I told God, I'm not ready to lose my dad at this point. And I prayed and I asked something strange. I said, Lord, as I pray that you add 10 to 15 years to his life. 10 to 15 years. And I don't know why I was stuck to those numbers. I just said 10 to 15 years and I'll be grateful. At that time, that's just what I felt I needed. So what happened? A few days later, he miraculously got well. And once I move along with this story, you'll understand why this is extremely relevant. And that's it for this section about the dream giver, where a seed was planted in my heart. There were many breaks that were there when I was in school. So any opportunity that I had, guess what? Again, I was always in Nakuru. And I feel as if I was always at Gatehouse. I was always at Gidima, Everready. If you're from Nakuru, you know those places. Yeah, and then there was a really good place where you could eat chicken, and the chicken was so tasty, but it was really big. And then someone told me, hey, it's tasty because they mix it with flamingos. I don't know if that's true, but that's what someone told me, and it freaked me out, so I don't think I ate from that place again. But yeah, the chicken was really, really tasty. So at this point, I had started, actually, I think I had already started blogging at this time. Yeah, so I was blogging, I was entering some scammy, I don't know if it was scammy competitions, but just online poetry competitions and all these things. And what else was I doing? I think I was doing an internship. I was helping my dad out in his office. I call it an internship, but there was nothing that I was doing. But yeah, so I was helping my dad in Nakuru with a couple of things. And yeah, so I was just back and forth and back and forth. At this time now, I think it was around December, and my mom told us that, hey, I had a dream. And my mom has a gift for dreams and visions. So when she has it, for us, the way our family receives dreams, we're not non-believers, those ones of, oh, it's just a dream. No, we take it seriously because my mom has had this gift and we know how, it's really true. So anyway, she had a dream that one of us had gotten a green card but God didn't reveal to her who got it. So she had this push and to go ahead and apply for the green card application. And this is something that she had never done for us. She just woke up. So we knew that this was a God dream. So the following day, she said, we're all going to Molo Town and we're going to, is it BD or Baraka Studios? And we're going to go ahead and apply for the green card. So when we went to these studios, I think it's still there and I still need to go and meet the owner. But in any case, we went to Baraka or BD Studios and we saw so many pictures of people who had won the green card. Immediately I was like, okay, this place is legit. And when we were going through the process of taking photos and he said that he was going to apply for us, so that was really kind. Everyone thought that my older sister would get it because at that time she had started the process of applying for a student visa to go to America. So we're like, oh yeah, she'll probably get it. I mean, we just believed it. We just believed it. So my mom gave him all the information, our birthdays and everything, went back home. So in the middle of the night, my mom receives a phone call and she was frantic. And I could hear her from our room. And in the morning, she said, oh my, guess whose application was almost rejected because we were laughing so much? It was me. So my application was rejected initially. So I think he had to get permission from my mom to just kind of manipulate my face and send it, and it went through. So my mom was like, oh, thank God everything has been sent. So I've done everything on my part. The rest, we leave it to God. And that was essentially it about the dream receiver. Yes. Okay, fast forward, we are in 2006. I've totally forgotten about our application that this past December for the green card. So I am in Nakuru again. In fact, I'm at the bus station in Nakuru. Then I get a call from Nairobi. It's my brother. So I picked up and he's like, oh, I just came from the post office and you have this really big, unusual package from a place called Kentucky Consular Center. And immediately something went off in my head and I told him, oh my goodness, open it, open it, open it. I think it is a poetry contest or a blogging contest that I entered. And I think I won. So go ahead and open it and tell me what it is. So he opened it and there was a pause. He was silent and I asked him, hey, is everything okay? And he said, holy crap, it says you won a green card. So for me, I was in shock. I was in disbelief. And I asked him, all of us won a green card? He said, no, you won a green card. The letter is addressed to you. So at that point, I was so shocked. Immediately, I called my mom and I told my mom, hey, I almost said my brother's name, oh my gosh. So I told my mom, yeah, so I got a phone call from my brother in Nairobi and I won the green card. And it's as if my mom was anticipating it. She told me, okay, get on the next bus, Kuja Molo. That's what she told me. So I went and she told me, okay, so this is what's going to happen. You're going to pack your bags. You're going to go to Nairobi because I've already spoken to your brother. There's a long list of things that you need to fill out before your visa appointment. You don't even have a passport. I thought it was just a Kenyan girl. Yeah, so, or rather a village girl. Yeah, so, you have to fill out your passport. You have to get a certificate of good conduct and all this stuff. So she told me, you're not going back to school. You're going back to Nairobi. And at that time, I was just thinking of all the bonds of friendships that I created in my university. And I was reluctant. I said, okay, but I'm still going for this coming semester. You know, the school fees has already been paid. I'm going, right? I mean, my parents were champions for education. That was something that they took so seriously. And my mom said, we're going to ask for a refund, but you have to understand that this is a great opportunity. Forget about school for now and go with the process. And then one thing that she told me is, you are not allowed to tell a soul. You cannot tell your friends. So I said, okay. So from there, I just went silent. There was radio silence. My friends tried to reach me. I kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. So I missed essentially a semester, trying to get all these things. So the time for the visa appointment was fast approaching. At this time, I had gotten everything aside from a series of vaccinations. So I went to the designated doctors who do the embassy appointments. And when I was in the lobby, I felt like I was in such a crappy mood. I have to be honest, because I just didn't understand that. Can you imagine, at this time now I was 19. I'm 19 and I'm being told that there's a possibility that I'm starting a brand new life in a whole different continent. So I was just feeling out of it, and of course I had my headphones in and I was listening to Capital FM. And actually one of my friends from Strathmore the other day said, oh yeah, you always had your headphones on. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So anyway, I was listening to Capital FM and they said, if you're having a crappy day, text us Y to this number and 3,000 shillings is up for grabs. And at that time I had entered these competitions all the time. So I said, okay, let me just go ahead and tell them what's going on. I'm doing a full physical. And yeah, so I told them what's going on. And the I don't know who was that in the morning show, but they responded, haha, come and pick up your money. And it's as if overnight I just became a magnet for attracting all wins. I was like, hey, I like this. So after so at that time when I got that text that I won, I just beamed. I went for the final checkups, the physical, and once I was done, I went straight, I'm not wasting time, I went straight to, is it Laundro House? I think, yeah, so I went straight to Capital FM and I said, hey, here's my ID, I've come to collect. So, so they gave me the money and I think I went to Steers. I don't know if I think I went to Steers. I completely finished that money that day in town and I went home with a full belly. Yeah, so that was essentially it. And then time for the appointment, again, things were going so fast. Time for the appointment, I had a few people who were helping me with the interview process and they told me, be plain. Put your hair in a bun, wear a white button shirt, just extremely plain. So that's what I did. So going for the visa appointment, I remember, because this was the first time I'd ever been in any embassy. What was I doing there? What was I doing there? So anyway, I was going for my visa appointment. I have this huge folder with all my documents, all these things were asking. And I just remember that going from the security checkpoint to the actual embassy, it took forever. And I thought, wow, this is serious. And once I arrived at the American embassy, the front door, I just remember seeing a couple of people like crying and wailing. And I asked them, is everything okay? They were like, oh, I took a visa and all this. So for me, I was nervous. I was like, is this that serious? Because for me, I was just taking this for granted. I was like, wow, is this serious? Oh my goodness, okay. So I walked in, they called me up, and the gentleman just looked at me, and I think it was just the way I had just really prepared. I don't know. Or maybe it's just because it was my destiny. I don't know. So he just asked me, where are you going? I gave him the address. He said, okay, raise your right hand. I did it. He swore me in, and then he said, you have X amount of months to leave the country. Then I asked him, is that it? He said, yes, that's it. So I was in disbelief. So I obviously went home and I told my parents or my family, because we were waiting with bated breath, and I told them, yeah, guess what? Nilipata visa. And they rejoiced. They were like, whoa, yay. And then my mom tells me, you're leaving in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And at this time now, yeah, you're living in 2 weeks or something. Yeah, you're living in 2 weeks. And I think this was, yeah, I don't even know when it was. Anyway, so she told me you're living in 2 weeks. And then one thing led after another. I was set to leave in January, I think January 19th, on my birthday. Yes, so at that point I said, let me try one more time to test my mom. Oh my goodness, my mom is such a sweetheart. But yeah, and mommy, if you're watching this, Achamin, I love you. Yeah, so so I said, okay, let me try one more time to test her. So I told her, you know what? I don't want to go. I don't want to go, mom. I don't want to go. So this was the time she was like, okay, young lady. Okay, no, she didn't say that. She said, Mama, I have to tell you something. I've been praying for you, and the pastor said that your destiny is not here in Kenya. It's in America. That's what she told me. So after that, I just felt as if I didn't have gratitude for what had happened. I mean, things were happening so fast, but I just felt as if, okay, now I get it. I get it. I'm not going to pester you guys again. I'm going to take this opportunity. And I think at that time I accepted it. And we had a lunch on my farewell. Not too many people came apart from, should I say the name? Sarah Kay, let me just say that, from my high school. She came and she was so teary-eyed. And for me, I was just numb. I was just like, okay, I'm leaving. And yeah, so my dad made a lovely speech. He was also teary-eyed, and my mom was just like, my mom had this disposition, and I think it's just because of she knew this was coming. I told you she just has this gift, but she had this disposition of, yeah, this is supposed to happen. Yeah, so she had that just calm disposition, and that is my story. So I'll come back with lessons. So get ready for the lessons, because some of them are really deep. Okay, so I'm here to give you the lessons. So I'm armed with my phone and the book that I authored called Made of Steel. So let me start off by telling you that God is preparing you for your destiny. And the reason why I say this is the beautiful girl that I met who was abandoned, she was a destiny helper. That's what I believe, because what are the odds of me finding or bumping into this lovely lady who started giving me a crash course about America? You know, this is something that I believe was divine. This was really, really divine. So if you are in a situation where maybe you've been praying for something, I believe that God will send people your way, be it with information, maybe with monetary assistance, or someone who will be able to elevate you in one, shape or form. I believe that God has set the ball rolling for your purpose destiny. So don't take things for granted. I do not believe in how people say, oh, this just happened, oh, luck, oh, this just happened by chance. No, I don't believe in those things. I believe that God will really help you and equip you for your destiny journey. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say. And most of the information that she gave me was so, oh my goodness, it was so important once I landed. And by now you should have already watched my video about culture shock. The information was really helpful. Yeah. Another thing is, oh yeah, everything makes sense. So I guess I'm just piggybacking on what I said. Another thing is the importance of keeping quiet. Remember my mom, once she saw that I already had cold feet, the first thing that she said, and I tell you, my mom has deep insight. So the first thing that she said is, don't tell anyone. And I think it's because if you start telling people things prematurely before it has come to pass, what happens is that they can snatch your blessing, or they can tell you something that makes you so fearful that you cannot advance. It just reminds me of the 12 spies who went to, take a glimpse of Canaan, and some of them were like, oh my goodness, we are locusts compared to those people. We cannot make it. So so just be careful. You might be telling some people who are those negative spies, the ones who were, did not believe that, hey, this is the promised land that the Lord has called us to. So just be very careful what network you're listening to. Do not listen to that network of people who are telling you, this is impossible. In fact, there was this study that I read that says the possibility, that's when they will tell you all those statistics that it's impossible. But you have to understand that when faith is activated, and this is something that God has placed in you or deposited in you, like it doesn't matter. I don't care what this statistic said. I might be the pioneer. Yeah, so anyway, do not be the kind of person who, I know in Facebook it says, what's on your mind? Please do not go there and say, hey guys, guess what? I might be getting this tender, so just pray for me. Some people will be praying against you, so be careful. Not everyone is for you. Yeah, so that's the first thing that I wanted to the other thing that I wanted to say. Another thing is, actually that one I'll reserve it for last. Okay, so the next thing is about Elijah. I'll go ahead and read this real quick from my book, page 74. So it says, I think we have many seasons where God requires us to remain still and tethered in order to prepare for the next season. The next season may really require and depend on us learning certain things in the current one. Be diligent and still in this season. So what I'm saying is, whatever season that you're in, just know that there are things that God wants you to learn in that particular season, okay? Don't complain. Accept that your path is necessary, okay? However, when it is time, you will be required to take the next step in order to reach your destination. Just like Elijah, you are assured provision at your destination. But first, you have to take the first step of moving forward towards your assignment. So in as much as stillness is important, faith and movement into your next phase are equally important. If you overstay your welcome in a particular phase that you have outgrown, you will become unfulfilled and frustrated. So just know that in the Bible, when Elijah was told that, hey, I've given you provision in Brook Cherith, but it is in a place called there, a destination, a place called there, he was required to move. He was required to move. He wasn't told, your provision is here. Your provision is, no, he was told, your provision is there. So what does that mean? You have to move boldly forward. So if you are in Mombasa right now and God says he has given you provision in Kisumu, you have to go to Kisumu. You have to be obedient and move to Kisumu. Yeah, so that is it. And the final one is, remember I had asked, the final one is actually ask big. And the reason why I said this, in 2005, when my dad was in ICU, I asked God, give me, add 10 to 15 years to his life, and yeah, I'll be happy. So guess what? My father passed away in 2020. And that was on the higher end of what I had asked him. I had asked for 10 to 15 years. So he gave me 15 years. So up till now, I just wonder, what if I asked for 30 years? I don't know. I'm just saying that not to be strange, but just to emphasize that ask boldly, ask knowing that you're going to receive it, okay? I tried to think about the significance of number 15, and the only thing I could find is in the Bible. And this, when I was asking God, I wasn't thinking of anything biblical, but now, much later, it just hit me when Hezekiah was really sick and God added 15 years to his life. He was healed and he added, and yeah, so for me, I think as a Christian, the power of the tongue is so powerful. So just know that, death and life is in the power of the tongue. So be very careful. If you have an opportunity, just always take that opportunity to speak life. If you speak something else that goes against the will of God or his love for you, just ask for forgiveness. And that's it. Whoa, I'm done. I'm so glad I was able to redo this, because when I do segments, I feel as if it moves faster and it's easier to follow through. That's why I'm redoing it. And that is it, folks. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this is the second time you're watching this or listening to my story, I love you. And guess what? I'll see you on the next one.